Welcome to Let's Talk. This is a call-in show on the Skeptic Haven network channel. Let's Talk is a safe place for atheists, those questioning or leaving religion, and anyone that wants to ask questions and have respectful discussions. From the U.S., call us at 984-789-4787. And from outside the U.S., you can call in from your computer using the URL on the screen below. Ain't technology fantastic?
This is Skeptic Haven. Let's talk.
Oh, look, there's three of us here. How do you like them apples? I think this will be your first time co-hosting with me on the show, Reds.
Yes, it is. And it is an honor, although I must say I'm very disappointed in you. You were supposed to invade us by now. You were supposed to bring your hockey pucks, your maple syrup, your Tim Hortons, the works. And yet we have still, to this day, not been invaded. What gives?
I don't know. Carney won't let us do that.
I mean,
he doesn't want to lose any of our Cobra chickens.
We had a deal, and you're going back on it. I had faith in you, but okay, I'll overlook it for now for the sake of this show.
All right. You can yell at me later if you want.
Oh, you bet I will.
How you been, anyways? Other than that,
been good. Just getting into the 3D printing scene. And,
oh, no way! You bought one?
Making some telescope parts, because apparently when you put the word telescope over everything, you instantly increase the price by like $200 to $300 for no reason whatsoever. So I was like, I'll print some stuff, and it's working out. So yeah, and I'm also going to be giving away my designs for free.
Oh, cool! Very cool.
Yeah, because I'm nice like that.
I kind of wish I had a 3D printer, because that would be awesome.
Yeah, it comes in handy. It comes in handy. So if you are considering getting one, do it.
Well, it's not like I could just snap my fingers and go buy one. I got to kind of save up a little bit.
But isn't that one of the benefits? I mean, isn't that one of the benefits of being a Canadian? You can just snap your fingers and make shit happen.
I wish that were the case. I haven't been able to do that so far, and believe me, I've tried.
So the brochure has lied to me, is what you're saying.
That's right.
I see.
Don't believe anything you read in a brochure anyway. So. All right. So anyone out there who wants to try to convince us that there is some form of a deity that exists out there, feel free to call in and have a chat with Reds and I. Or if you are, because what he's most dealing with is like the flat earthers and stuff like that. So
yeah,
if you're one of those people, you can try and convince
there is a lot of overlap. There is a lot of overlap between flat earth and people who believe in some sort of God or whatever.
Mm-hmm. What for you? Like, what do you hear as being the most common arguments for the Earth being flat?
The most common argument:
water finds its level.
Water always finds its level. Yeah. It's we see too far because they don't understand that refraction is a thing.
Right.
So that's one of the most common ones out there.
I can't remember which guy it was. I think it might have been Jeranism that did that test. Was it with like a light or something, where he had the board and he put a hole in it, and then he put another board.
Yeah, that was Jeranism.
Was
that was part of a Netflix documentary where he absolutely embarrassed himself. Right. It was absolutely hilarious, but he has since kind of sorta not really given up the whole flat earth thing, because he got
wasn't that his cash cow though?
It was, but he got an all expenses paid trip to Antarctica and couldn't explain it away.
Right. Oh, he was one of the ones that went down there, eh? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was one of the ones that got $40,000 for the privilege. And yeah, that's what happens. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, brothers and sisters, the moral of the story is simple. If you wish to have a once in a lifetime experience, all you have to do is be wrong on the internet for 10 years. And you will eventually annoy somebody enough to spend $40,000 to show you that you're wrong.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting. And I heard even after that, some of the people were still insisting that all of that could have been fake, that it was green screen or something, and or in a studio. I heard some arguments, or at least in comments and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely hysterical.
Yeah, we have a word for that. It's called copium.
Yeah, right. I got my prescription right over there. No, I'm just kidding.
It's sad. It's pathetic in every way imaginable. But here's the thing: all of us on the debunking side, we weren't surprised at all. We knew that this was going to be a cataclysmic shit show, and yeah, safe to say, I was not surprised. I think Jeranism's problem was that he's just not that creative. He couldn't spin a bullshit story to explain this trip away and what he saw. Usually you could just blame everything on CGI, but since you actually went there, you can't really do that shit. But the other flat earthers that didn't get the privilege to go down there and see what they saw, yeah, they're going to dismiss it as CGI, as they do.
It blows my mind that they think that that's some sort of sound argument, considering every single image that you see online is computer generated.
Everything.
Even if you take a photo of yourself and then post it, guess what? That was generated by a computer.
Well, I got one better for you to show you how much copium is at play here. I'll tell you a brief story. We have a flat earther. He goes by the name of Flat Earth Reconnaissance. And now that I said his name, he just had a shattering orgasm. So, Flat Earth Reconnaissance has a claim out there. And the claim is that pictures of galaxies are fake. So when you see these videos on YouTube of amateur astronomers and they're taking pictures of galaxies and they're showing you the wonderful work that they did, he's saying all of that is fake. And what's happening is that NASA is real-time hacking into their digital cameras and putting in place of an actual image, a CGI image of a galaxy.
Right.
So what my good friend Astronomy Live did was he went back to his roots, and he went ahead and decided to go back into film astrophotography. We can see where this is going. So he went ahead and issued a challenge to these individuals and said, dude, I will mail you the negatives because you get a physical product at the end of taking these images, and that is the negatives. I will mail this to you so you can see that these images are not fake. We're talking just optics, pure optics, glass and a film camera that requires no electricity to operate. And what did they do? What happened? They tucked their tail. They fucked right off at the speed of sound, and we never heard from them ever again.
Oh, man.
Imagine that. But to this day, they're still saying that images of galaxies taken by amateur astronomers, that every single one of those images, it's all fake. It's all CGI. NASA's real-time hacking your camera or whatever. And we go back to the original point, which was, I captured this on film.
So Native Atheist in the chat says, Reds is here? Are Flurfs calling in? Well, we don't know. If you know any, go give them put a bug in their ear.
Oh,
and Ember claims you haven't aged a bit. So
please do. Please do. I make my night. Come in here and tell me, about the Eratosthenes observation. Talk to me about the second law of thermodynamics. I love that one.
Yeah.
Talk to me about your independent variable. I love that one too. Jeez.
I know it's some of the things that they come up with. Like they don't even have a model that they can all even agree on.
Correct.
But
And
y-
every single model that was put forward is a, basically distorted version of the globe. And we were actually able to look at one of these flat earthers apps. Yes, one of them made an app, and don't download it. It tracks you and sends your details back to the mothership. So don't do it. But one person was able to get a hold of this app and look at the code, and they're pulling information from the NOAA, which is satellites, which
Mhm.
is the fucking globe, and they're using globe math to find the distance between flat earthers, because in this app you can find friends. You can find friends on this app, and it will tell you your
That's weird.
distance. Yeah, not weird at all. But it will tell you the distance between these friends. That's a problem because on the flat Earth, the distances between points are all kinds of fucked up. So, in order to get an accurate measurement, the motherfucker has to use the globe.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Way to
Yeah.
tell on yourself.
I don't know if you saw Ollie's quote there or comment in the chat. There's only one flat Earth argument that makes sense, at least to him. The Earth is covered by approximately 70% water. That water is not carbonated. Therefore, the Earth is flat.
You
Maybe
know,
uncarbonated water, but that's about it.
you got me there. You got me. I have no rebuttal. I've never heard that before. That is, wow. Okay.
You're kidding me. You never heard that? It's a
Never
joke,
heard
of
that
course,
before.
but yeah, all the water on the Earth is flat. Hello,
I
Randy.
mean,
Randy says hi.
hello. But yes, I've been busy with the uh, film astrophotography and making videos based on that with again my good friend Astronomy Live,
Mhm.
because the CGI argument is starting to get old, like really
You
really old.
think?
Everything is CGI. Everything I don't like is fake.
Right. CGI is about as old as computers.
Yeah. And now that argument is going to pick up some steam because of this AI age that we're in.
Yeah.
Everything's now AI.
Yeah. So, have you guys come up with some kind of rebuttal to the AI thing? I mean, the AI is usually obvious, if
Yeah,
you ask me.
everything that we've done, we've made it so that it's repeatable. So I'll give an example. When I measured the altitude, size, and speed of the International Space Station, I didn't just give my results. What I did was I laid out a step-by-step process so that if you wanted to, you could go out there and you could do this observation yourself, and you can use your own measurements to come to your own conclusion.
Right.
So no AI is going to trump real life experience. So go out there and do it yourself. When we measured the distance to the sun, we were very detailed in how we presented this information so that it could be used as a blueprint for another observation. Again, if you wanted to go out there and do this observation yourself, you now know how. And when it comes to film astrophotography, I have the fucking negatives. So AI can't explain that away. So everything that we have done is is with this idea of you could do it yourself, or I'm going to give you tangible evidence that you can literally hold in your hand. That is powerful. No one, in my opinion, will be able to at least honestly explain that away with AI or CGI narratives.
The whole CGI thing is ridiculous, anyways, because the reason they love to stick to that one is because obviously some stuff has to be sort of animated. We'll say to have a visual to what they're describing, like a solar system far, far away or whatever. They have to make it look like what they're talking about, so you have a visual idea of what they're talking about. But
Yeah.
they have taken it to a place where, oh well, then everything must be CGI, but or
I
fake
don't
or whatever.
I don't remember the flat earther that I was speaking to here, but it was on Twitter. This must have been like well over a year ago, but he presented an image from NASA. It was from NASA, and it was clearly it was clearly like an illustration, a cartoon, if you will, an artist representation. And he goes, "This is an image from NASA, and this is what they're trying to get you to believe in, blah blah blah." And so I gave him a $5,000 bet, and my bet to him was, "Okay, we know that this image comes from NASA. Point to the NASA page that's hosting that image where it says explicitly, this is a real image. This was taken by a camera, that there was no, graphic designer involved with the production of this image. Show me that statement, that little disclaimer. Right. Show that to me." He couldn't fucking do it. And that's because NASA tells you right up front how the image was either captured or created. They don't hide this stuff.
Yeah, it'll say this is an illustration.
Exactly. Whatever. And I was able to find the original, and guess what it says? This is an illustration. This is an illustration. So, of course it does. So they're misrepresenting. Right? They're misrepresenting what NASA is saying about that image. And it's disgusting. It's like, don't you guys get tired of fucking lying?
Getting it fucking wrong seems to be their thing. Because I'm, if you ask me, anyone that believes that the Earth is not an oblate spheroid is, in today's day and age, with all the technology we have, all the evidence we have, then they're fucking grifters, and they're just in it for the cash.
Oh yeah, absolutely. A lot of them are just grifters.
Yeah.
I can name one big grifter right now, and his name is Dearth. Deep inside the rabbit hole. That's right. I'm calling you out for like the millionth time. It's like, this dude has made so much money, apparently, that he has the capability of booking a ticket on Jeff Bezos's suborbital rocket, which does objectively look like a penis, but he could hop on for a ride on this suborbital cock rocket, and he can ride that thing up to the stratosphere and have literally an orgasmic experience. But for some reason, he just doesn't want to fork over the money and prove himself right.
Right. Which you would think, if they could do that, they would jump at the chance. Oh, you mean I can go up there and prove to everyone that the Earth is actually flat? Why am I not doing this?
Well, the reason that he's not doing it is because he knows he's wrong. He knows he's full of shit. His own app proves that he's full of shit. Like, you're using the globe for your friend finder. First of all, ew. Second of all, math. Fucking math.
Oh, well. Sometimes you wish you could just reach through the fucking camera or the screen or whatever and just give them a shake. Like, don't be a fucking idiot.
Oh, God. It's like, yeah, the friend finder thing is what gets me. That's not where you're gonna meet your next love. Just know.
Yeah, right.
Come on, show me your GED.
I mean, I back in the day, I once used, what was it, fucking Plenty of Fish or something, I think they called it.
That's a legitimate name of something.
Yeah,
because I heard of Tinder, but
yeah, Tinder was that swipe right thing or whatever the hell it was. But Plenty of Fish was something that I used as a dating app. Like, we're going back easily 15 years or so.
That's see, and so this is basically this app is basically the discount bomb of the barrel flat earth version of Plenty of Fish, I guess. Jesus Christ. Don't download it.
Yeah, no, like I was going to. Oh, I got a question for you. Are there any flat earthers that, let's say, if you weren't discussing the whole flat earth things, would you actually be friends with?
Ugh.
I'll take that as a no.
I mean, friends. I
Like, do you
mean,
think that there's anyone you could get along with? Let's put it that way.
probably not. The part of my brain that just has zero tolerance for that level of bullshit. I don't think I can switch that part of my brain off, because it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. We're gonna be sitting at a table, having breakfast or something, shooting the shit, having a great old time, and he's gonna say something fucking stupid, and I'm just gonna go off the edge.
Oh, looks
I
like
don't.
we'll have a
I
call
don't think
here
I
in a minute.
I don't think I could. I don't think I could. I don't think I could. You are too stupid to be my friend. I'm sorry. You have to at least understand that the earth is round.
Yeah, dude, I just don't get it. I don't get the whole attraction to it either. Like, why? I don't understand.
It makes them feel special, because keep in mind that flat earth is basically a giant fuck you to our educational system, which, by the way, you can say fuck you to our educational system and not be a flat earther.
Hold on.
But
Wait, whoa. I think you're jumping the gun a little bit. You guys actually have to have an education system down there that works.
you know, you got me there. You got me there. So I think at the end of the day, it's more a want, need, and desire to feel special. They want to be the next Sir Isaac Newton, and I'm like, you're not the main character in this
Newton's moved
story,
the
my
earth off
guy.
the globe. Not only that, it's not that they want to feel special. What I get from most of these guys is they crave the attention for sure. So that probably does make them feel special.
Yeah,
But I think they like to believe that they have some secret information that nobody else knows, except for all the other idiot flat earthers.
I know something you don't know.
Right.
It's well, that's what I mean by wanting to feel special. It's the most childish bullshit imaginable, and they know they can get people going because of Brandolini's law. So for those of you who don't know, it's basically called the bullshit asymmetry principle, and what it states is that the amount of effort it takes to debunk bullshit is way more than what it takes to produce it.
Right.
So you're going to spend a lot of time debunking their bullshit when all they have to do is eat way too much Taco Bell, sit on the toilet, squat, and there's their next idea for a YouTube video.
Doing their research.
Doing their research while on the can.
Oh, he says it's flat. Must be.
Like, share.
Yeah.
Like, share, follow.
It's amazing.
I know that this may seem crazy to some people. Believe me, I get it. But that's one of the main reasons why I don't think I could be friends with them. And that's why I think they're in it because they want to feel special. They have a little warm and cuddly feeling in their gut when they start spewing this fucking nonsense. And that's another reason why I wouldn't be able to be friends with them, because they have a intrinsic character flaw. It's all about them all the fucking time.
Right. What about obviously flat earth is your big ticket item, but are there any other conspiracy theories that you've had people try to convince you of?
Oh yeah, tons. One of the most recent ones was the anti-vax nonsense.
Oh, of course.
Bill Gates is putting microchips in vaccines and or nanobots, and one day he's going to flip a switch and it's going to kill us all or turn us all into zombies or whatever. I've heard so much stupid shit like that.
I've heard that too.
There was one where it was like vaccines are still somehow causing autism, even though that's been completely debunked 6 ways to Sunday.
Yeah.
There was even a conspiracy that they're using aborted fetuses within vaccines. I've heard that one too.
Fuck out of here. Are you serious?
Oh yeah. They're sick with that shit.
Holy crap. I have not heard that before.
Yeah, so
Unreal.
aborted babies are being ground up and put into vaccine syringes because reasons.
I mean, I put them into my chili, but that's different.
Yeah, it's like, first of all, you don't want to put it in vaccines, okay? You get the taste isn't through a needle, okay? Just point that out there. Like, I can't even put ketchup on that, or mustard or relish.
Ketchup.
like I can't enjoy the fetus properly if it's just directly injected into my veins. I have taste buds for a reason.
Ember says stem cell smoothies.
Yes, it's like listen, this is why I tried to open up a business. Unfortunately, it failed. I don't know why. I thought I had a cracking idea. I was running Red's Barbecue and Abortion Clinic, where yesterday's mistake is today's steak.
I don't know whether to throw up or laugh my ass off at
that. And yes, that was our catchphrase. Yesterday's mistake is today's steak.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Gee, I wonder why that didn't take off.
Yeah, I'm not sure why I got shut down. As far as I know, it was a hit.
That's unreal. Okay, let's see. What
Something about health and safety and morality or whatever.
Oh, it looks like we lost the call. What the hell?
Oh,
Maybe he'll try calling back. Maybe the guy's phone died. Who knows? FDA approved.
FDA approved. And just to be clear, when we speak to anti-vaxxers and stuff like that, we treat them with the same amount of respect as we did flat earthers. So we didn't take that shit even remotely seriously, especially the people that were trying to say, like, the vaccines have microchips in them, and it was like, there are easier ways to control people. Elon Musk is making fucking Neuralink, and people are willingly wanting to sign up for that.
Yeah.
You don't have to sneak it into their bodies. You just have to tell them that Elon Musk is making it, and then a whole bunch of fucking tryhards will line up around the block.
Yeah, it's fucked up. No, it looks like they got a call back on. So we'll see what happens here.
Let's see what happens.
All right. I'll just wait for the cue in the private chat. It's private, people. You're not allowed to look at it.
Aw.
Yeah. The funny or not the funny thing, but let's be real here. Flat earthers are annoying as fuck, but they're not really dangerous. Anti-vaxxers, on the other hand, can be quite dangerous.
I would say they're both dangerous, but in completely different ways. When you have flat earthers, they're dangerous in terms of the next generation, in terms of them being educated or not, because unfortunately, with this little thing called the internet, stupid ideas can flourish. And that leads to stupid people, and stupid people leads to stupid outcomes, and stupid outcomes means we now have Trump as president. So
yeah, okay, all right.
And how many people have gotten fucked over by that deal? Yeah. Didn't see it like that, huh? Yeah, I got you there.
I heard a statistic that actually pretty close to 40% plus of the people that voted for him are now like anti-Trump. They're like, why the fuck did I vote for this shit?
The last poll I saw was that he lost like 80% of independents, and he basically rode a wave to the presidency because of independence, When you're dealing with Republicans, you're dealing with the dumbest fucks on the planet, and they're not going to change their mind, even if they get screwed as a result of his policies. They're lost. There's no saving them. But independents, they teeter-totter, and now Trump has convinced independents that yeah, he was a bad choice. So we'll see. But yes, to complete the thought, anti-vaxxers are dangerous because they just want to bring back nearly eradicated diseases because, fun. I don't let science dictate my health. I put my health in the arms of Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Jesus, I'm saved by his blood.
I'm saved by the blood of Jesus Christ. He's the only vaccination I need from the Antichrist.
I thought you were going to say something else there, but that's all right. We have Rob, who goes by they, them, from Oregon.
All right.
Anti-religion, but atheism makes the difference between people greater rather than connecting them together. I'm not sure. We'll have to get a little bit more from Rob on that topic. Hey, Rob, can you hear us?
I can.
Perfect. How you doing, man?
I'm well, thank you. So the show in general is related to atheist versus theism. Am I correct?
Well, the show basically, because Reds and I have been talking about conspiracy theories and flat Earth and stuff like that. So it's these kinds of things like supernatural, silly conspiracy theories, religion, if you want, and it basically like if you can convince us, maybe you can turn us into a believer of some kind, right? So that's basically where we go.
Well, we're on the same page there.
All right.
As far as the anti-vaxxers and the whole thing, it's just ridiculous. And the flat earthers, look, at the end of the day, they would rather be wrong than have no answer. That's really what it boils down to, as far as that goes. So the problem is that's dangerous. I mean, look at RFK right now. I mean, it's just absolutely nonsense. So, but what I would say is the atheists that are out there right now, and I was one at one time, are defining themselves by what they don't believe rather than what could be. So defining yourself by what you don't believe is actually kind of negative, and it burns bridges rather than builds them.
In what way?
So let's put it this way. Okay, so now we have to belittle theists. We have to belittle
why
any of them, which I just heard you say. That's exactly what you're doing.
I don't think that's belittling anyone. They're telling me something that I don't believe, and I'm saying, hey, maybe you can convince me. I don't think that's belittling.
Exactly. But meanwhile, you're calling them flat earthers and you're making fun of them. And look, I get it.
That's a little different.
I get it. I'm not going to defend
when it comes to flat earthers and anti-vaxxers. Oh yeah, definitely. I will totally make fun of them, and I will be doing so with a huge smile on my face. However, when it comes to religion, that's a different story, because my position is the I don't know position. I don't know if God does or does not exist. My only position is that your arguments for his existence suck ass. And so if you have an argument that does not suck ass, I'm more than happy to hear it. But if it does suck ass, I have enough respect for you to tell you that it sucks major ass.
Try harder kind of thing.
Yes. All right. Look, I am a theist in a different sense. God is a corrupt term. All right. You have to define it ahead of time. So, look, I believe that everything is here for a reason, and it's done so by whatever reason it is. It's here because it could be and should be, and there's nothing else beyond that.
So, how do you know that, though? How do you know it should be here? Like we could never be here, but you'd never know why either, because you wouldn't be here. But still, how do you know it should be here?
We are. There's no disagreement.
Well, we are, sure, but that doesn't mean.
If I at the end of the day call whatever created us God, even though the term is corrupt, there's really no disputing it.
Well, you're off to a bad start already.
You're already
off to a bad start, dude.
I know.
Rob, hear me out a second. You've already used the term created us. We don't know that that's the case. What we do know is something called abiogenesis, chemistry and stuff like that, and how things evolve into the species that we have here now. By the way, 99% of the species that have ever been on Earth are gone. The last 1% is the diversity that you see here now. So, to me, that makes far more sense than some magic man waving his hand or speaking shit into existence. You know what I mean?
I get it.
Okay.
But beyond that, something created everything at some point. There has to be a first cause principle, no matter what. If it's a singularity or whatever, it still has to be a first cause principle. If I call it God, it's still there. It doesn't matter. You can say we don't know if we're here or not or whatever. We are here, and the one thing we know is we are here. We are now, and we are conscious. Conscious. So it's kind of hard to dispute that, don't you think?
No, it's not hard to dispute that we are here and we are conscious. But consciousness is an emergent property of our mind, right? It's an emergent property of our brain. The other entities that live on this planet are also conscious. There are different levels of consciousness, but we are we're conscious to the point where we've created language. We have empathy, which, by the way, is necessary for a civilization to start. So we have all these sorts of things.
I would agree with that.
Right. That's great. I like that. So these are the types of things that our consciousness led us to do. We're basically, in a sense, we're the top of the food chain in that matter. But to say that
by our definition, yes, you're right.
Correct, but we have no other sample sources to go to, right? So we only have the one that we are here.
Well, we assume that since we make Big Macs, chainsaws, and penitentiaries, that we're actually the dominant species. As well, you could take, and you could argue that plants are the dominant species. Without them, we don't exist. We don't get oxygen. We don't get food. So, in that sense,
but
plants
aren't.
But what?
Doing science. Plants aren't building airports.
They're not doing what?
Plants aren't driving cars. Plants aren't making things. I mean, they make the oxygen for us, granted. But that's how they survive.
Subjective, right? And we're taking it from an anthropomorphic place. We're assuming that we, as human beings, are the pinnacle of creation, as opposed that we can't see it as it is.
Well, that's a little.
All we can do is see it from an anthropomorphic position. Plants are the dominant life form on this planet because without them, we don't exist on any level. So you can say that we drive cars. Okay, go ahead.
Let me propose something else. Let's say plants aren't a thing, yet we still evolved. And we have a different methodology for existence. Like we don't need oxygen. Let's say we somehow survive on a planet like Titan where it's mostly methane. And now we can breathe methane and we still develop and we still become a dominant species. Now what?
That's all hypothetical. What we are is
we already know that there are extreme organisms that do that.
We're here now.
Don't require sunlight or oxygen.
Plants don't?
There are some organisms, like bacterial type organisms, like deep in the ocean. So we know that they don't require that.
They're extremophiles. I get that. You know, there always are. However, where we are right now, here, we completely depend on plants and bacteria and viruses in order to live.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, to say
that's how we evolved to need that stuff
is subjective.
Wow.
So I'm just saying it's subjective, and I don't see us as the dominant species in relation to the whole we drive cars, we make penitentiaries, chainsaws, Big Macs, and tons of carbon. So
if I can jump in here for a second.
Totally anthropomorphic view.
If I can jump in here for a second. By the way, you were missing one thing from your list, and it's pornography. Anyway, when you
well, there are gay monkeys.
when you
Yeah.
I want to go back to one of your original points, which was I'm paraphrasing, of course. It was something had to be there to set that initial spark into motion. Otherwise, none of this would be a thing. Am I getting that correct?
You are.
Okay, cool.
The
So
prime mover argument.
yes, exactly. The thing is that
First cause
there,
principle. First cause
First
principle.
cause, first cause, prime mover. Yeah. that's
yeah,
pretty much
same shit,
wrapped
different
in
name.
the same suit.
Wrapped in the same suit. Exactly. Neil, this is why we're friends. So when you look at what science has to offer and you ask them how far back can you look, they can give you a certain amount.
Mhm.
They can give you a certain number of years, billions and billions of years in the past, that they can describe what
13.8
happened.
apparently.
But eventually we hit a wall, we hit a barrier where we can't look any further back. Anything
Plank time.
beyond that point is speculation. You could
Mhm.
say that there needs to
Called
be
infinity.
a cause, there needs to be an uncaused cause, but the thing is that you literally have a sample size of 0, meaning that the only intellectually honest position to have is the I don't know position. You're just as clueless as I am, and I'm okay with that.
And I would agree. And what I'm saying is there has to be a first cause principle or we wouldn't be here.
No, you don't know that. You don't
we
know
can't
that.
understand infinity with our mind because we are grounded, and we are grounded in the finite. We can't possibly understand infinity. We can approximate it, we can symbolize it, but we can't, no matter what we do, define infinity.
No. It's not whether or not we can define infinity, or even if there was an infinite anything that caused all of this shit to happen, and why we have wisdom teeth that grow into other teeth that require surgical correction.
Or
What I'm
glasses.
saying, exactly. What I'm saying here is that regardless if it was an infinity something, a negative infinity something, if it was the most purest form of 0 you can possibly not imagine, because let's face it, 0, you have a sample size of 0, zip, nada. You can't make any claims in a realm where you literally cannot observe. You can't get any data from it. So could there be this thing that caused anything to happen? Sure, but you don't know that for a fact.
I do not know that for a fact, but I do know there had to be a first cause principle at some point.
But
there's
if
no disputing that.
But if you initially said you didn't know, and you agree with me, but then you immediately followed up with, yeah, but I do know, don't you see how those two statements contradict each other?
I don't, because we are here. We are now, and we are here in this moment right now. No, you're right. We don't know. But what we do know is something had to start this somewhere, because there had to be a first cause principle somewhere. Do we know what it is? Absolutely not. But
we could say, if you want to use a first cause or whatever, you could call that what they've already been calling it, and that would be the Big Bang.
Oh, they call it a singularity is where we supposedly came from.
It's not a singularity. A singularity is something
else.
The
Big Bang is the exact same thing.
No, it's not.
They're calling it.
And here's
never
the funny
called
thing.
It a singularity.
Here's the funny thing about the Big Bang.
Okay.
It's still banging.
And the Big Bang was a bad name anyways, because there's no sound.
What I'm saying is that there is a limit. There is a limit of how far back in the past we can look and study. And beyond that, it's all guesswork. It's all speculation. And they have a sample size of 0, which is the case for all of us. And it becomes a question then, Are we okay with that? Are you okay with that? Because I'm okay with that. And my argument is that we all should be okay with that.
I'm fine with it.
To a
And
point.
I'll be honest
To a
with you.
point.
I don't think we'll ever know.
I'm leaning that way too. Yes.
Mankind assigns meaning to his life to give it purpose.
Yep.
Now, you can go back as far as you want with that, and you can call it what you want, but at the end of the day, still something got this process moving.
Yeah, but meaning doesn't have to come from God. Meaning can come within yourself. Like, for example, my meaning in life is just to make dirty jokes and make Neil horribly uncomfortable.
I like those. I like those.
Oh, gee, thanks, John.
Again.
Or Rob, I mean. I was reading something in the text and saw his name is John. Rob, I apologize. You're not John.
Oh, man, you got nothing to apologize for. The thing is, and I keep going back to this, is there has to be somewhere a beginning to this.
Right. And we call it the Big Bang.
And once we have a sample size where we can actually base that on, I'm going to be staying put where I am.
Okay, well, what caused the Big Bang?
We don't know.
We don't know.
Exactly.
We have ideas
So
and hypotheses.
If somebody calls that God,
give you an actual answer until they figure it out. Why?
Well,
why? Just because we don't know doesn't give anyone the right to insert something that can't be proven either.
Okay, but by definition, it's the same thing as I don't know, I'm calling it God, and I don't understand God.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this.
It's too infinite.
Who's to say that your definitions would even apply to this realm in which we have no information of?
Okay, because once again, we're at a first cause principle. Now,
yeah, but this principle, you're applying this principle to a realm in which we have a sample size of 0. You're applying your definitions, you're applying your logic to a realm where you don't know if it fits, if it applies. Because again, you don't know, you can't go there, we can't study that far back. We don't know if the laws of physics are even the same, if the laws of logic are the same in this realm. It is a place in which we know absolutely nothing about. So you're coming with logical explanations, things that work in your head, but things that work in your head may not apply to this realm in which we have a sample size of 0.
Okay, yeah, and let's not forget that science is the truth until further notice.
No. Rob. Hold it right there.
Works.
Hold it right there. Science, Rob, science is a methodology. Yeah. It is a method to find what's real and what isn't, right? It's something we use. They come up. I use 6 or 7 different methods every day when I work in the lab where I work. Okay, so I find things using methodologies, right? I use gas chromatography. I use spectroscopy. I use pH ion readers. I use all kinds of things to do what I do for a job, right? It's a method to determine reality. That's what science is.
So think of it like this. I like
also
to think
self-correcting.
I like to think science as map creation. Our job in science is to make the most accurate map possible. However, we know there's going to be some issues along the path, but if the path is illustrated good enough for our purposes, that's the ultimate goal of science. Not necessarily to be perfect in absolutely everything at all points at all times.
Science is
our job is to be like, okay, well, given the information that we have, what is the most accurate map we can construct of our reality?
Yes.
Okay.
Science isn't science isn't truth. Science is a method to get to truth.
Are we superimposing that paradigm onto reality, or does it exist beyond that?
No, it's just within the reality that we experience, because that's where we get all of our information.
Exactly. We can only test the natural world. Or we can only test nature.
Think about it. Every scientific model has been accurate right up till it wasn't. And that's the way it works. It's ongoing and it is accumulative. So
if scientists get something wrong, Rob, they test and test again until they figure it out. because science is can be
Exactly.
self-correcting. They come
Exactly.
up
It's
with
an
new
ongoing
methods, and they
process.
keep telling.
That's what I'm
Right.
saying. But
And
it's
to be
not
sure, they get
true.
other people to double check their work, right? That's peer review, and then they go
Okay.
from there.
For
I'll
now.
disagree. When you said that every scientific theory was proven correct until it wasn't, there's some scientific theories that were always wrong and they just didn't want to accept it. Phrenology is one such example, which is, oh boy, do not look that up.
Oh, now they're gonna.
Okay,
you're
right,
gonna.
right. Look,
Now
I
they're
get
going to look it
where
up,
I'm
but just
saying
know
is
I warned you.
Yeah. It's still, it's it's the absolute truth until further notice, because it's always evolving. To actually put your whole heart into scientific methodology is to really sell yourself short. You can learn and live by.
Right.
We wouldn't be having this conversation if it wasn't for science. I'm not an anti-science guy, so please don't take it that
Okay.
way. But I'm saying it evolves like we do, and the math evolves like we do. It's not absolute. It comes as we do, and because we are noticing or creating paradigms in relation to our ongoing evolution. So to say that we don't know, you're goddamn right, we don't know. But back to the thing, there still has to be, at some point, somewhere, a first cause principle.
But the problem is that the very moment you venture outside of the reality that we do know for a fact, you're just speculating, and your word is no greater or lesser than anyone else's. You could say that initial spark was God. Somebody else could say it was a flying spaghetti monster, and y'all are on the same footing.
I like the universe farting fairies.
Okay. How many dimensions are there scientifically?
No,
Well,
I heard like 11 or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's something like that.
Exactly.
All the other ones
used to be.
Hold on, Rob. Before you go any further,
It used to be 4.
We can measure 4, and they have had measurements of other dimensions. Problem is, there's no access to them. Like they're so small.
Exactly.
There's no access.
And by the way, a lot of these
those.
And a lot of these are illustrated as theories, and theories.
Well,
and
they're mathematical theories.
Here's the thing. I want to make sure that not being misquoted here, because somebody might take that. Oh, you said theory, but scientific theory. And yes, there's two different.
Yeah, I'm not that guy.
I'm talking about the common usage of theory here. Is that they're throwing it out there. They're not stating that this is an absolute fact. But when you look towards, like, let's say the before the Big Bang, assuming of course that there was a before the Big Bang, for example, you cannot assign anything within that time frame, within that realm. You can't make any claims, you can't make any predictions, you can't assign numbers to it. It's something that is totally outside of you. It's outside of your mind, it's outside of your conceptual capabilities. So
like I said, that's infinity.
You can't make any claims there. So to claim that that's where God is hiding, I mean, it's awfully convenient if you ask me.
Okay,
let me just grab my tub of God of the Gaps, buddy.
Where's the Big Bang? Where is it at? Where's the Big Bang?
I mean, the Big Bang is still banging.
You want it? Do you have an old TV, like an old tube TV?
Oh no, but I get where you're going with this.
Well, if you look, you remember when the snow used to come up on the screen, though it was all staticky? Within that snow is evidence of the cosmic microwave background, which we can still see, by the way.
Right. Exactly. However,
that is evidence that the Big Bang happened.
Somebody calls that God, for not a guy, but a principle. How can that be disputed?
Well, you can't dispute. If you want to say, "Oh, I'm going to call that God," I'm going to say, "Knock yourself out," if that's what you want to do. But I don't see a necessity to do that. I don't see a necessity to do that. I'm going to call it a mystery.
It's a mystery, and
person does. Okay, you don't.
If it makes it feel better. Okay, but to start yourself down a path that is not exactly correct, it's a pure speculation. That could lead to something possibly being harmful later on.
And I would
Okay,
say I would say this. If you wish to believe that God is what set that initial spark into motion, that's perfectly fine. But it's also okay to say, well, we don't know that. I sure as shit don't. I'm not going to
okay.
I'm not going to come to that conclusion because I literally don't have anything to go on.
I have nothing to back that conclusion up.
Yeah, exactly. But if you
Okay,
believe in your heart of
you're
hearts
right. You
that
don't,
that's
and
what's
you don't
going
have
on,
anything. Okay, I'm
then
sorry. Go ahead.
if you believe in your heart of hearts that that's what's going on, by all means, knock yourself out. We're not going to think less of you for it. Now, if you were to turn to a flat earth or an anti-vaxxer, then I would think less of you.
I would too.
Well, we know you're not at that point, Rob. So we're thankful for that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's certain people that we look down on: flat earthers, anti-vaxxers, Canadians that refuse to invade us. There's a list, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh yeah, what about Greenland? No, I'm sorry.
Oh, don't get me started on Greenland.
Look, as far as it goes,
there's way too much orange in one spot, and believe me, we're doing our best to contain him, but there's only so much we can take.
Like, we're on the same page there. Trust me. So, you know, I live in Portland, Oregon, which is the mecca of liberalism. I'm not liberal. I'm not conservative, but I know a fucking charlatan when I see one, and I know a thug when I see one, and that's really all this guy is.
So at the end of the day, what we're saying is that your reason, the place where you're placing God is valid. However, it's valid just because anything is possible in that realm.
It's subjective. You know,
anything's possible. It could be the case that nothing's possible, which is something in this context. So since we have a sample size of 0 and we don't know what the fuck is going on over there back in the day, you know, billions and billions and billions of years when the universe was opaque as fuck, I'm okay with saying, yo, shit was opaque as fuck, and I don't know what was going on.
Well, with the Webb telescope, we just saw a further expansion of the universe. And that's an ongoing principle. That's an ongoing evolution.
Not necessarily. The James Webb Space Telescope, which by the way is at the Lagrangian 2 point, it does not see past the cosmic microwave background radiation. It cannot see past that point. What it's doing is it's looking at objects that we know for a fact are there, but it's looking at these objects in more detail. So, for example, we were able to discover. Well, hang on. We were able to discover
more than previously.
Well, hang on. Sure. We were able to discover previous exoplanets with instruments that we already had way before James Webb existed. Now, with James Webb, we can look at those exact same targets, but with more detail. We can get a better understanding of, like, for example, their atmospheres. So that's the purpose of James Webb. It's to give us more resolution to what is visible, not peering into past the cosmic microwave background radiation, which is literally impossible.
No, but what they have seen is an expansion. They've seen beyond what they could have seen previously. Yes, it did validate many of their scientific principles, and I agree with every goddamn one of them. But it still saw beyond the knowledge that we had, because it's an ongoing principle. Science evolves as our intellect evolves.
I don't know what
and
you
then
mean
you have to ask yourself, are we superimposing ourselves on a paradigm? I mean, or it's already here, or are we just noticing it? That's what science is.
I'm struggling to understand your verbiage here in regards to the James Webb, because the James Webb, yes, is making discoveries. That's one of the reasons why we spent $10 billion on this telescope, which has a mirror that's made of gold.
Exactly.
But it's not seeing past the cosmic microwave background radiation. It literally cannot do that.
You can't even see outside of infrared.
But it's seen the possibility for expansion. It's seen the universe as larger than it thought. That's what it did.
No,
so you can go with the
I would like some sort of citation on that, because it literally cannot see past the cosmic microwave background radiation, which was the limit of the visible universe.
Okay.
So if you have some citations that you can send us later on, I will be more than happy to look it over.
All right. Well, either way, it at the end of the day, it is enhancing our understanding of the universe, period. And it's provided us with multiple facts and information. So we've moved beyond some of our prior paradigms, because now we understand better what certain things are.
Of course. That happens all the time. As technology gets better, we learn more. Right? We used to think that the Earth was at the center of the universe. Well, guess what? It's not. We figured that out.
It is. No, I'm fucking with you.
You know what? I did hear an argument one time, Rob, that technically anywhere you are in the universe is the center of the universe, because everything is moving away from you.
Well, they say that for every head, a world. And it's true. Yeah, for every head, a world. So it's ultimately subjective again, but it did expand our knowledge of the universe at some point. Yes, you're right.
That's why it was built. The Hubble did that too. And the new one that's coming out will do it even better, because it's going to be able to see past infrared.
Yeah. That's my point. Thank you. That was my point all along. Is that science, this is the absolute truth until further notice. And look, I am not anti-science. We're having this conversation because of science. You know, I mean, I'm just saying it is an ongoing process. So, you know, therefore, you can say, I don't know, and you're right, I don't know. But if somebody says, I find this to be God, then there's really no way to dispute it, because that is their definition of the ongoing process of infinity.
Now, as I said, there is no way. You're right. There is no way to dispute it, just like there is no way to confirm it.
Right.
Yeah. So we're stuck at this never-ending stalemate of you know, where do we go from here? And it's you can't really go anywhere, can you? You're kind of stuck in the mud.
Yeah, both of us are, because there's no farther. We can't go any farther either way.
And I'm perfectly okay. I'm perfectly okay with that. In my mind, it doesn't bother me in the slightest. I'm going to sit back, relax, have some lunch, and like I said, annoy Neil on a daily basis.
Yeah, well, don't get me wrong on this part. Look, I don't think the Christian crime boss that calls itself God or anything like that, or Muhammad, who's, you know, an epileptic redheaded Arab, suddenly had the truth. Any of that crap. We're on the same page there. I'm just philosophically saying something that you're saying in another respect. So it's really a question of definition. And by definition, I'm going to go and have a sandwich and a beer after this too.
Well, you enjoy that sandwich and beer, Rob.
Yeah. It just is what it is, man. You know, there's really no way to dispute it. Now, my whole point is that when you guys are calling these flat earthers and stuff, wouldn't it be better to reach out to them and try to explain things rather than call them a bunch of dumb fucks, which they are? So, you know, wouldn't it be better?
Do you have any idea how many channels there are that try to do exactly that, but they'll have none of it?
Yeah. I pull memes from them all the time and put them on Facebook and go, Jesus Christ, look at this shit. I get it. But by the end of the day, I have also had a few that were willing to talk to me about it, because I was willing to say there is a first cause principle. Now, the rest of that flat earth,
what is it? We don't know yet. We'll figure it out at some point.
Yeah.
Or maybe we won't. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, me too.
Let's just not forget one thing. At one time, the flat earth theory was the truth.
Well, it was believed to be the truth until they broke that. That was like 4,000 some odd years ago.
That's what science is. It was believed to be the truth. That's exactly what science is. So,
Yeah, science is the tool, the method they
model
use to
for
find the truth.
now.
I get it. We've said that like 50,000 times
Yeah.
already.
Exactly, but we're still going back to the thing that, well, I guess it's at a stalemate on that, so, and this is the thing about things like that. You can't go beyond it. All it really is an argument. And I was an atheist for a long time. I mean, I was a rabid atheist, but I found myself at the end of the day defining myself what I hated and didn't like, as opposed to what I could have actually reached out for. And that's kind of where I'm going with what I'm saying.
Well, why did that happen? You could have remained an atheist and just said, well, no. We'll eventually find out these questions that we still have.
Or you can just ditch the label altogether. That's fine too.
Yeah, just I don't believe this.
That's fine
you
too.
Me? You got to use something to actually convince that. Something that's falsifiable, verifiable, something you can observe, something you can test, something. That's how science works. Right?
I know people are so eager to like put labels on their belief system. Oh, I'm an atheist, I'm an agnostic, and it's just like I don't give enough of a shit to even put a label on it.
Yeah, but at the same time, you are projecting yourself as an atheist.
No, I'll tell you what I do. What I usually do is I define my position and I let the other guy define it, because if they'll jump down my throat and saying, oh, that's not agnostic, that's an atheist, or that's not an atheist, that's agnostic. I don't care. Assign whatever label you want to it. My position is the I don't know position. I'll let you find the word for that.
Well, I'm not saying atheist in a pejorative term either. I'm saying this is one person's position and this is another, So, I mean, anyway. It is what it is, man. We can go on and on about this, and it's going to be circular logic.
Yeah, exactly. We're just going around in circles here at this point, Rob. So if you feel comfortable calling it what you want to call it, then knock yourself out. I
completely respect your positions, and I think they are logical, and where you are at this time works, much like science. However, when you define yourself, then you're expected to act like whatever you defined. Like, I practiced Buddhism for a long time, but people said, you're not doing all the Buddhist shit you should do. And I'm like, yeah, because I'm not living up to a definition.
I work with a guy who claims to be a Buddhist, but he says he doesn't do it properly, so he calls himself a Baddist.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an option. Just invent a label for yourself.
Yeah, there you go.
Nah, that's just it. At the end of the day, I call it this, because that's all this is this. Now, the only place we differ is I call the first cause principle God, but the problem with that is it's such a corrupted, misused term that it's open to just massive criticism. I mean, so
everything should be open to criticism.
Oh, exactly. I completely agree. But when you say something to the effect of God, it means 1,000 things to 1,000,000 people.
Yeah.
That's why it's important for us to define our terms.
Rob, you just basically described exactly why I am an atheist. Until somebody can actually give me a definition of what God is, because everyone that thinks of a God is going to give you a different description. So until you can narrow it down to a description of what actually God is, then I don't give a shit. I'm an atheist.
Okay.
I think personally, I think it's a waste of time, really, to even bother thinking about that stuff. I think we could be talking about much better options, things to do to better humanity, to better our planet because of climate change. There are lots more important fucking things to talk about. But I come on here in case somebody comes up with an argument, says, and I'm like, holy shit, I never thought of that.
I can think of three right now. One is impeaching Trump. 2 is convicting Trump, and then 3 is jailing Trump. See, there's 3 right there, right off the top of my head.
We're on the same page.
Didn't even have to try really hard for those.
But that's the point of philosophy. That's the point of it's not grounded in the actual. It's grounded in the abstraction of the human being. There's nothing absolute about any of it. You can say, I don't know, but you're here. And I could say, oh, well, I call the first cause principle God, but it's just philosophical. There's really no way to determine any of it in a definitive sense. So, I mean, at the end of the day, we are, in a sense, saying the same thing. And just, I've slammed a label on it, and that actually restricts it. So I'll give you that one. When you say God, now, once again, it's a million things to a million people. So I would like to call it something. I'll call it Bill. Okay. I mean, it's the first cause principle. I don't care what you call it. There had to be one. I mean, period. There had to be. Everything we do is grounded in a beginning and an ending. Everything. So as above, so below, that has to be true in a cosmic or universal sense.
Above, so below. Way to pull Wicca into it.
Oh, that's not fucking Wicca. That's fucking general.
As above, so below is absolutely from the Wiccan creed.
As Above, So Below is also a really, really good song.
Actually, it was Sumerian, but go ahead.
It's by a band called In This Moment. Highly recommend it.
Yes, I know In This Moment.
I love that. I love her. That's a great
Maria
band.
Brink? Yeah.
Yeah,
She best singer.
Little
Best
Barbie
singer.
is an awesome song.
She's great, but I still think Nancy from Heart is still probably my top favorite.
Let me tell you something.
Wilson?
I know you're used to disappointing me, but don't you dare go against Maria Brink here.
I'm not going against her. I just would call her the best of all time.
Repeat after me.
She's up there.
She is the best female singer.
Hey, look.
Thanks for watching, folks.
So, yeah, it's funny because I'm 60 years old, so you're
2 years older than me.
I'm what?
2 years older than me.
I'm younger?
Older than me.
Yeah. Well, then we're both Gen Xers. So,
yep.
I saw Heart in 78, and Nancy Wilson was a lot thinner, I'll tell you that, than she was later. But
we don't need to say stuff like that, Rob. I mean, let's be decent people. We don't need to talk.
No, but where I was going with that is this: they refused to make her as the front. They had Ann Wilson go out there instead to act like she was singing all the songs because that's covertly viable. That's sellable. That's where I was going with that. I wasn't going to fat shame her. That's not
I
it.
actually meant Ann Wilson, but Nancy's the guitar player. Sorry.
Yeah, I know. Is it Ann? Is the guitar player. Nancy Wilson is the singer.
No, other way around.
Okay, that's probably fair. Either way, regardless, that's what they did with him on a corporate level. So if you look at any of the videos from the 80s, they have Nancy Wilson up there front.
Oh, wait. No, yeah, it is Nancy. Nancy is the singer. You're right. Never mind.
Thank you. That's what I was just getting ready to say. It doesn't mean, no, because she's a guitarist and so am I. And, back in the day, I learned Barracuda, so. But I know we can go on about this shit too. But at the end of the day, I would like to call it a stalemate, and I do agree with you guys.
It was always going to be like that. It was always going to be a stalemate because in my opinion, there's literally no other option.
Exactly. The difference is
everything's spinning wheels in the mud. You ain't getting any traction. I'm not getting any traction. It's all right. I'm fine with that.
There you go. And look, I'm not a theist in the sense, I do not consider myself a theist, because that's just another label. And that would put me in the same camp as Christians, and fuck that. Okay. So I think the biggest poison on this planet is religion. So in general, but I do see a need for spirituality. What's that?
Yeah, but define spirituality.
A connection.
That's something else that
the
everyone's going to have a
actual.
different answer for.
Exactly. A connection to this now as it is. To have a relationship with this infinity in your own terms and definition. So that's what I get out of that's spiritual for me.
I just don't use the term. I mean, I've had spiritual experiences at my favorite band in concert. I've had spiritual experiences watching really good anime. I've had, all kinds of, if you want to put a label on it.
Yeah,
I just call it an emotional roller coaster, basically.
Yeah, this one time I went to an I Prevail concert, and that was a spiritual experience. Damn straight.
Yeah, well, I had the same thing at a Carcass concert. So I mean, it just is what it is. It's old school thrash. But anyway, I mean, there is something to all of this, and if you can tap into it, it's subjective. But it's also healing, and it's also giving you a meaning. Because Nietzsche said, whoever has a why can bear almost any how. And he was right. So it comes back to assigning meaning to this. And that's where I would go with spirituality. And yes, once again, it's subjective. But if that gives somebody a reason to go on, because religions are all like, you're not doing it right. That's every religion. No. Seventh-day Adventist, you're not doing it right. It goes on and on with it. But I'm saying on a spiritual level, to really tap in to what is going on now in this moment is that spirituality, because it's all right here and something made it. And if you can tap into that at any level, that's spirituality. For me.
Whatever works for you, buddy.
Exactly. Exactly. That's it. Whatever gets you through. At the end of the day.
I've actually spoken to people that are believers, and they say one of the reasons they still believe, well, there's usually two big reasons that they give me of why they still sort of attach themselves to these beliefs in deities or whatever. One of them is a sense of community, because there's all the other people that they're associated with also have these beliefs, so they get that sense of community, and that makes people feel safe. And the other thing is a sense of that there's something more than them, and that they feel that shit. Where was I going with this now? I totally just fell out of my head. But you get what I mean. Like,
I get you.
Let me see if I could put it. If I can put what you were trying to say into words actually spoken. So the first reason why people would want to stay with a particular religion or a particular group, congregation, is because they grew up with all of their friends and family that all believe the same thing. So it has the sense of community, a sense of belonging. And so, as Neil was saying, that gives them a sense of security. The second reason is that, they might have had an experience that they really cannot explain. Whether it was a very vivid dream, or if it was like this shiver that went up their spine that just came out of nowhere. And they were thinking of something very profound, and then it happened. Sometimes people have those experiences, and they wish to attribute it to a god.
It makes them feel good too, right?
It makes them feel good. Yeah, it gives them an explanation.
I don't get why, but
it gives them an explanation as to why they were feeling what they were feeling.
Well, look, once again, people would rather be wrong than have no answer at all.
Oh, believe me, we know that for a fucking fact. we know this. I've been arguing with flat earthers for quite a while now, and yes, that is definitely the case.
Where a Jewish carpenter had to sacrifice himself to get rid of the first sin principle that he already created, so he can knock up a 14-year-old virgin and sacrifice himself to himself. Yeah, that makes total.
It's only a bad story if he was a shitty carpenter.
I agree.
This entire story hinges on whether or not he was a shitty carpenter.
Yeah, I agree. But by the end of the day, there's this too. Whether you believe the myth or not, the paradigm of Jesus shows us an exemplary way to live. If you choose to look at it, you don't have to accept him as your Lord and Savior and all that bullshit. You can just see him for what he was, if he existed, the Prince of Peace. Now, the fact that they're blessing tanks and M16s now, because this is what Baptists
Yeah, because that's what he would have done.
Yeah, that whole
Yeah,
5
exactly.
loaves and 2 fish thing. Yeah, I come not to feed. I come to spray shrapnel and give
come
my
to kick
blessing
ass.
through white phosphorus.
Well, in the Old Testament, the Messiah was supposed to
Yeah,
come with a
guys.
sword, so I don't know what happened there.
Yeah. Well, if you look at the Old Testament, it's really, well, if you look at the New Testament, it's really trying to reconcile with all these gods. You have El, you have Yahweh, and they just go on and on. They're all different from one another.
Asherah,
They just kind of make
Baal,
up
and
these stupid, yeah, exactly.
El.
They make
Yeah,
up
I
these
know.
distractions, so. We're on the same page there, guys. I mean, as far as it goes. The only difference between me and you is you're saying, I don't know, and I'm saying, whatever it is we don't know, I've labeled. It's that simple.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, Rob, it's been fun, but
Yep.
we're gonna
All
let
right,
you go,
man.
my friend.
Hey, guys, I had a lot of fun. Thank you very much. You guys are intelligent and succinct.
Well, let's
And
not
I'll
get
tell you
carried
right
away.
now, I don't get that very often. So.
I don't claim to be
All right,
intelligent.
guys.
There's lots. I
Yep.
know nothing in comparison to what's knowable. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, same.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. It just comes
Right,
down
man.
to a label that actually the human mind can put it around it like an abstraction just to give it some meaning to itself. Now, whether that's absolute or not, there's still the infinite principle. So, it is what it is.
All right.
It's that simple.
All right. Be well down there in Oregon, my friend.
Okay. All right, my
Talk to
brother.
you.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
He seemed rather nice.
Yeah, but I don't think like for what we try to accomplish on the show, I just think this was a pretty boring conversation for the audience, to be honest. But
There was a lot of going around in circles. Yes, I agree.
yeah,
I can understand what he's trying to say, but at the end of the day, we don't know shit. But he wants to assign a label to the thing that we don't know shit about. Just seems like a waste of time.
I believe that.
And that's why I'm very clear with my position on the subject, which is I have zero fucking clue. And the only assertion that I make is that your arguments for God's existence suck ass. Come up with something that doesn't suck ass and I'll listen to it. But at the end of the day, when all was said and done, he seemed to agree with me, but he wanted to put a label on it anyway, whatever that it is.
Yeah, well, that's his prerogative if he wants to do that.
Yeah, it's fine, but it doesn't really.
I don't see the necessity. But
yeah, it doesn't get us anywhere. There's
that's
pieces
right.
There's pieces on the chessboard.
It's superfluous, basically.
And the pieces haven't moved. We just renamed the pieces. It's not it's not rook or knight. It's horsey man.
That's right. I mean, now they have evidence now of, I'm not sure exactly how they put it, but there's like these odd spots around the observable universe that look like they're bumping into what could possibly be another universe. So the multiverse theory is starting to get a little bit stronger.
I'll have to look up citations on that. I'm going to be honest with you. I've been very busy. I haven't looked deep into the discoveries by James Webb, but I know that one of the main missions of James Webb was to analyze the atmospheres of exoplanets. And that's where it was going to be spending a lot of its time. So to me, that is the most interesting discovery, because depending on what's in the atmosphere of these exoplanets, that could be a sign of life. And just imagine how fucky that's going to be for the Holy Bible if we find life elsewhere.
There's some interesting conversations going on in the chat. This Maverick guy is interesting. One of the questions I have an issue with off the top, and it's one of his latest ones, it says, John Fabiano, were you dead before you existed in this world? No. You have to be alive in order to be dead. So you
This
just
reminds
didn't
me of
exist.
a scary movie.
You go from non-existence to dying back into non-existence. All the constituents that made up your body go back out into the universe. Or if you're buried, they go back and feed the flora and fauna that you fed off of during your life.
This reminds me of a skip from Scary Movie. I was like, oh, he went to bed dead and woke up dead. And it's like, wait a minute, you can't go to bed dead. That doesn't make any sense. And then they had this whole argument about, if you go to bed dead, can you wake up alive? But if you go to bed alive, will you wake up dead or something along those lines? It's funnier than the way I'm explaining it. please look up the clip on your own time. It's hilarious.
I will. We got people that believe that they existed before this life. I don't believe in afterlife of any kind. I don't believe in reincarnation. I don't believe in any of that stuff because it's, first of all, it really isn't verifiable. And second of all, there has no evidence to support it. When the mind goes, which is where our consciousness resides, then your consciousness goes with your mind.
And at the very
what part of you would survive is what I want to know.
And if you go down to the sub-microscopic level, I guess, we're just made out of atoms in a particular arrangement. And so I remember like a explanation regarding a 0-player game. It was called the Game of Life. And this game, just using very simple rules, can make very complex structures. It's essentially Turing complete. And you can actually play the game of life within the game of life. It's so freaky. It's awesome. This relatively simple, 0-player game that has very simple rules with it can make very complex structures. And, given enough time and given enough items to work with, which would in this case be lit cells, you can make very complicated structures. Who's to say one of those complicated structures can't be so complicated at some point that starts making decisions for itself?
Right.
I mean, we would say that, hey, listen, if you look at a video specifically about the game of life, do so and you will have your mind blown. It is amazing. I highly recommend it, but it gives you this idea that actually, given basic rules and given enough time and enough resources to work with, you can get life, and that life can gradually evolve to the point where we're having conversations about it on the internet.
Yep. We know that's what happened here.
So again,
right
it's called The Game
chemistry.
of Life. I highly recommend watching documentaries on it. It's awesome.
Very cool. I will definitely check that out.
Yes.
Sven is in the chat. Like, why do you guys call in for crying out loud? What was it I was looking at before? As I was saying, existence or something like that. Hang on here. Where is it? Let me see. After death, so non-existence.
Yeah, we're all just atoms in a particular arrangement.
So we can come from non-existence to existence. Correct. That is correct. You write that. You're right on that. That's literally what happens. We come from non-existence into existence. You see, Maverick, when your folks really love each other, they get together.
Oh, God.
And one of them ejaculates into the other one. And that, if you're lucky, one of the millions of sperm will penetrate an egg cell and you will start to develop.
And just to be clear, it usually involves
that's non-existence to exist. Yeah, that's non-existence to existence. There you go. Perfect example.
It usually involves alcohol, really poor decisions, probably a bathroom somewhere.
I think it was Finn saying something about, so after death, non-existence, we come alive. Hang on, where was it? Something about, I don't understand why they don't see how flawed their logic is. Okay, well, I don't know either. Soul does not equate to consciousness. Okay. The soul doesn't exist, so you're right. It's not a straw man. Something has to exist in order to be a straw man. Straw man is building up an argument that you think goes against what you're arguing of the other person so that it's easier to knock down. That's what it is. That's not a straw man. Tons of mice are saying, Neil explains the birds and the bees. Finally, I've been waiting for this. When mommy and daddy truly love each other, or they're super drunk in the backseat of a 57 Chevy like my parents were.
Gotta include the 57 Chevy.
Yeah, well, fuck it, because that's the coolest thing ever. I was conceived in the backseat of a 57 Chevy. Bella, hardtop, two-door, factory colors. Oh, there you go.
I was probably conceived in a drunken stupor at a public bathroom somewhere. I don't know. I'm okay with whatever.
Ooh, there's another Maverick had another point I'd like to address. If we can come from non-existence to existence, then why can't it happen again after death? You will not be, if the constituents that once made you up, some of them go somewhere and ultimately end up being in another living being, fine, but that's not you anymore. That's
Are we
this
talking about like reincarnation
being.
And stuff like that?
No, it's just like an afterlife. You could survive it somehow. That would be the closest thing you could get, is if atoms from your body ended up in another creature's body at some point in the billions of years of existence of the universe, then parts of you are now in that creature, sure, but that's not you at all anymore.
I mean, let me try to give an example. Neil, you know how before the show started, we were busy tongue kissing, of course. And
because you do it the best, Reds, let's be honest here.
Exactly. You know, we were getting some tongue action involved, and I think some that was, you know, in me is now in you, but that doesn't make you me, does it?
No.
I don't think so. I don't think that's how it works. Otherwise, I would just be French kissing myself, and that's just weird.
Yeah, that is. I mean, if you're into it, I'm not going to kink shame, but you know.
Aren't you glad you invited me?
Totally, dude. I've been wanting to do this with you for a while. You're awesome, man. You're like one of my best buds online here. So we have a great time when we get together.
At the end of the day, that doesn't make you me and doesn't make me you. That's not how this works. Basically, once you
there's a little bit of you in me now. That's
oh boy, nice. For those of you who want to see like an example of that, you will need to subscribe to a particular subscription service. But anyway, when like for example, people get cremated, and
Jake, you're right. Sorry.
Like people get cremated, or even better yet, I've seen like these trees that have these roots that are specially designed to like hose or house a carcass, and they plant you and you become tree
red
food.
Hub.
Yeah,
that's
red
what I
hub.
said, red hub. Yeah,
but you basically become food for the tree, but that doesn't make you a tree. That makes you food for the tree. Like for example, I'm driving.
It's comforting to know that part of me now sustains another entity or another.
Yeah, it's comforting while you're alive. When you're dead, you can't give any shits about it.
Yeah.
Like for example, I'm
zero.
Like I was busy eating a salad, and I remembered that I was eating the food that my food eats. So I went to the farm to get my own food, and it actually was a walking, living, breathing being, and I ate it. I ate it, and it was delicious. That being is food. It's sustenance. It's not turning into me. That would be weird.
Right.
Yeah.
You will absorb some of the atoms and whatnot in it.
Yes. Now I do say moo every night, but not for that reason.
We won't go there. There might be kids watching Reds. We can't really do that. You got to keep it to some level of cleanliness.
I mean,
but it doesn't look like we've got any more callers, guys. And
Yeah,
We're
I'm
over an
good.
hour
I'm
and
going
a
to leave it
half
here.
now.
I think I've annoyed you enough.
I've yet to be annoyed, so you're going to have to try harder.
Oh boy, challenge accepted.
All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us in the chat there. It's fun, and you guys have some fun conversations there. I want you guys that are the believers in the chat to know one thing. I don't have a problem with you believing what you believe. I don't, because I'm unconvinced. All the evidence that has come my way thus far is, to me, unconvincing. If you tell me something that suddenly convinces me, great, you've made another theist or deist or whatever. It's unlikely, but as a scientist, which is what I am, I delve in chemistry. I've yet to see any evidence for that. I do my best not to make fun of people unless they get utterly ridiculous and start name calling at me. Then I will lose my shit. And as somebody has called me in the past, the Canadian Matt Dillahunty, when that seems to happen, I'm nowhere near. I have nowhere near the biblical knowledge base that he has. I'm much more referential to the Old Testament than the new one. But anyway.
And I'm just gonna end off with this. I love you all. Take care, and Neil, I'll be talking to you later. Huh.
All right, so we want to give out a huge thanks to all our awesome patrons and our members, and those people include Paul Cammish, Karen Butcher, HellsBells, Logan Fisher, Amanda McLeod, Jamie West, Sidney Davis Jr., which is now a different last name because she's married, Eric Ozels, Tara S., Rion, D. Murphy, Dan D., Shannon Gray, Michael Wiseman, Bass Thrasher, Bryce Roney, Jenna Mew, Deborah Grace, Sunny Shell, and Phil Calderone. And our members include some great folks that you've seen on the nonprofits, Cynthia McDonald and Kelly Laughlin. And yes, I used to be on the nonprofits, but I am no longer on the nonprofits. And until then, guys, be nice to each other.
This is Skeptic Haven. Let's talk.